pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We remain standing and remember our men and women in the armed forces and two local folks, Christy Napolitano and a police officer here for a while from Montgomery, Bear Mountain, George Wood. Thank you. First here on the agenda is to approve the bills and claims for fiscal year 2022-2023. The total is $63,387.20. Motion by Melanie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gary, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have a discussion on a couple of issues regarding our cell antennas that we're trying to put up, and the town. Are they putting up a pole or an antenna? A cell tower or an antenna?
So at DPW,
Yeah.
it's a cell tower.
So they're putting,
It's
we're doing
65
antennas, they're doing cell tower. Okay, so we have those two issues. Elise, do you want to say anything now? I know, so you're from Verizon.
Yeah, well, I'm Scott Olson, I'm an attorney with Young Summer out of Albany. I represent Verizon.
Yeah, I think that, it's fairly self-explanatory. There are two things before this board, and I'm sure that it would be appreciated if Mr. Olson could give you more detail, but you all have in front of you two things. One is there's been a modification to the antennas that will be placed on top of this building. So now, not only will the antennas be up there, they'll also be the equipment instead of behind the village hall building. So that necessitates a revision to the lease agreement that was made, and also a few other changes that I've been working with Mr. Olson to effectuate. So that's one thing I think that Mr. Olson's going to go into a little more detail on that. The second thing is you have from the town of Highlands a request for this board to do a Monroe balancing test. And a Monroe balancing test is a test that a municipality will go through to determine whether or not to exempt a project from another municipality from the zoning. So here you have a situation where the town owns property in the village where they house their DPW. They wish to put a cell tower on that property to essentially complete coverage of the village of Highland Falls as well as other areas. In order to do that, they will either have to go through planning and zoning and be subject to this municipality's zoning law, or if this board goes through the 7 factors that you would go through to determine that it is a public service, that allowing them to put that tower there as a public service that will benefit the public, then you can exempt them from the zoning law, just as you yourself are exempted from your zoning law. But the town is not. So they've asked you to go through that. That also requires you to do a seeker analysis. So what you would do tonight really is listen to Mr. Olson, and then at the next meeting, I would suggest that you decide whether or not to even go forward with the DPW project, and if you do, then you would declare your intent to be lead agency for seeker, and you would get that process started. So that's just a quick summary. I'm sure Mr. Olson can give you more detail and answer any questions that you might have.
Well, that's a great summary, thank you. This is, so the DPW site, I'm not sure. So the DPW site basically represents the third site for the village of Highland Falls. And it should complete effective coverage for the village. We have the senior center, that's currently under construction. This board considered the lease for the antennas on the roof previously. Since that time, some design changes were required to be incorporated because the property behind, there wasn't enough room basically to put the equipment on the ground behind the building. So they had proposed to move it up. Essentially, it's a 12 by 21 platform. The stub tower that we're proposing, where the antennas will attach to, that's attached to the platform. Basically it's a third site, and the DPW site just puts it all together. It is a monopole tower, 65 feet tall, and it should fulfill the coverage needs for the village, which is clearly very deficient, as I can tell on my phone, because I'm in SOS mode constantly in the village.
Well, the town tower will facilitate, in general, much-needed reception at the south
The
end.
southern part of the village, correct.
These two
This is
will-
this is more or less the middle,
Right.
and the senior center site, that's what we call a small cell. It's only like one antenna. It's only pointing kind of towards the north, because this site, once it's operational, will reach just about the southern part of the senior center. We just need a little extra broadcast to the north to complete the coverage.
So that answers my question. Didn't we have that question?
Yeah.
You answered a question that we didn't know.
Okay.
We knew the question, but we didn't know the answer.
Yep, no, there, yeah, so that's, excuse me, with this third site, hopefully your coverage needs are completed.
I would just note for the board very quickly that Verizon did present 2 studies now, one updated on the radio frequency coverage of that DPW site, as well as the other 2. Your RF consultant, Clint Smith, did review that and did send you an email that, in my reading, says that it does cover it provides the coverage that you're looking for. However, it's kind of, I had to really parse it. He's one of those guys, right? So, one of those tech guys. So, I think it might be worthwhile, because you do have to go through this Monroe balancing test. You need to understand very clearly whether or not that third tower benefits the village, and if so, how much. I think it would be worthwhile to perhaps invite Mr. Smith to the next board meeting. Get your RF maps out that were provided by Verizon and ask him, okay, can you go through this and tell us exactly what the antennas cover, what the senior center covers, and with the addition of the DPW cell tower, what benefit will that be to the village residents? And that will really play into and help you better understand when you go through those 7 factors of the Monroe balancing test.
We can bring this up. We have, if I'm correct, we have a meeting Thursday at 11 a.m.
That's not about this. That's a conference call.
Yeah, with these folks.
Yeah, you can talk to them about having Clint come by, but it's really your decision if you think
Right.
you need the additional information.
As Mr. Hume stated, we did provide several items for your consideration, including a very, very detailed and comprehensive radio frequency analysis. And we added, I think, at Mr. Smith's suggestion, he wanted to see some additional plots that show that the service just from the DPW site, and then when you add these other 2 sites in, the Village Hall and Senior Center. So we did that, so we can show you what each site is doing and how they all work in conjunction together. So we're happy to do that at the next meeting if Mr. Smith is invited.
Is that the color-coded maps that I have?
It is,
Yeah,
yes,
we need an
sir.
update on all that.
Yeah. An update on that in terms of,
Well, I don't have anything that shows the town,
what?
but
you
all
know what?
3.
Yes, you do, I think, right?
So,
That's what
well,
Clint
I'll
looked
make
at.
sure if you don't have, the initial report that we provided did not have that, then Mr. Smith reviewed the report and said he would like to see those additional items we sent them in, but I'll make sure that you have them. But it's, after the original application is submitted, I'm not sure how that was submitted, the email. Please.
Clint is Mr. Hughes?
Mr. Smith,
Mr. Smith.
he's your consultant.
Okay, he's our consultant but paid by Verizon.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So it just doesn't, it seems like a very convoluted relationship. If Clint is paid by you, but as our consultant, why would he not, I mean, why would you go through the expense of a third site if you didn't think Mr. Clint would approve it?
Well, Mr. Smith,
Mr. Smith?
let me clarify that.
You receive materials from Verizon that their experts have put together for you. They're very detailed. You need special knowledge to understand what they're saying most of the time. So you then have the opportunity to hire your own consultants who are paid by the village. Even though Verizon puts together an escrow account and is ultimately responsible for paying those advisors that you hire. But it's up to you to hire those advisors so that you can, not that you're not getting real information, but it has to be verified. It's just like anyone in the village or the town or a city that wants to build something and has to go through a board to get an approval. That board will ask that applicant for escrow monies so that any expert analysis or expert consulting that the board needs before they grant the approval or not grant the approval is not paid for by the village or the town or the city residents. So that's just how that works.
I have a question for you, sir. So we're moving from the back of the building to the roof, correct? Okay,
For the ground equipment only.
okay.
Yes.
all right. And then, I know people ask, so I'm gonna ask because, I don't know, because I cook for a living, so it don't make a difference. So, obviously, it's structurally sound up there to hold this equipment.
Correct, we would have been putting it up there.
I kinda figured, but I know people
And we-
ask.
And there are structural we never put anything on a roof of a building before a structural analysis is run by a licensed New York State engineer.
Okay,
The back up to that is Todd.
okay, yep,
Yeah.
all right.
And he has looked at the diagrams and the weight and the size and everything. And I'll have one more conversation with him, but he seemed to be okay.
Yeah,
But still, it's worth me talking to him one more time.
And for people who wanna know, so.
Sure.
Again, your village engineer did the analysis. Not that the Verizon engineer would sign something that would jeopardize his or her license.
Yes.
But you have the right as the village to have your own engineer take a look at that and say, yes, or just as Clint did. Well, I really want to see these other two sites because I can't really advise my client, the board, unless I see all of it, not just the DPW site. So that's what your consultants do for you.
One thing I just would like to add very quickly also, both of these projects have been reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office, SHPO, and for both cases, SHPO signed off on it and said, we don't see any adverse impacts to historic structures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
We want these antennas very badly, for the reason you know. Okay? Elise, you okay?
I'm fine with that. I don't know if Mr. Olson wants, he came down from Albany.
You did.
You might want to release him.
I'm sorry.
You might want to release him so he can get.
Oh, no, you can, no, that photo.
There's other questions.
I think there's starting the secret process for the DPW site.
What I want to do, Scott, and I thought we had talked about this, but I would like to take that up at the next meeting so that the board has more of an opportunity to look at all the documents that you provided,
Okay.
to look at the analysis that's been provided so far from Clint.
Okay.
And then, in the meantime, everything will be ready for the next meeting.
Which is October 3rd. Okay.
Yeah, the first Monday.
Okay, great,
Yeah.
all right.
And there's some meetings coming up, as I said, with all of you. And then some meetings I'm gonna have with you and Clint and Todd. Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
I'll get them all done before the next meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you. Be safe going home.
I will, thanks.
Okay? Move on? Okay. All right, next on the agenda is to approve minutes, our regular meeting we had on September the 8th, 2022, and then we had a special meeting the same night. Was everyone here? I have a motion to accept. I don't remember.
Karen and I weren't here for the 8th.
The other one too?
No, we were here for that one.
We were here for the zoning one.
We were here for that one.
Which is this one?
That's the September 8th,
Regular meeting?
I guess.
Okay, so, well, I'll take two motions. Could I have a motion for the regular meeting on September 8th, 2022?
I'll make a motion.
Gary and Brian. All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then may I have a motion with, there's two abstains here. Could I have a motion for the special meeting on the same night we had, September 8th, 2022?
Motion.
Melanie?
Second.
Okay. May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
Yes.
trustee Alward.
Yes.
Trustee DeSalvo,
Abstain.
trustee Phillips,
Abstain.
Mayor DiNarfrio.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you so much. Okay, some good news. It's kind of a long story, which I won't do, but the end of the story is that we will receive $441,563. It's a WIA grant agreement that we have, and we were awarded, and it'll go towards the projects at the wastewater treatment plant. I need authorization to sign it.
Motion.
Second.
Melanie, Jim, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. 441,000. Okay. Vacation buyback. You have that information from the police department?
This is for Sergeant Ruger. We just gave him, we just bought the vacation buyback in July 1, correct? And he's asking for another 10 days of vacation buyback. So July, August, September.
They're allowed to ask for the buyback on certain anniversary dates, and if they have over and above the number they're allowed to
Right.
hold on to.
Annually.
Yeah.
He's eligible for this, correct?
Yeah. A lot of work went into this because it sounds easy, but it's not. You'd be surprised. Anyway,
I'll make a motion to approve the buyback.
and can I just add, can I add something? It's not too early to start talking about the next budget. We have to look at this area of buyback dollars to have something in our budget. But again, that'll be for budget time. I have a motion to approve the vacation buyback for Sergeant Ruger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gary. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, next we have a request from the village clerk for a class for Luciana Brown, who works downstairs, to the New York State Employment Retirement Seminar. It's on October the 13th, next month, at Rockland County Fire Training Center in Pomona, just down the road, 9 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon. There's no cost. She is requesting mileage reimbursement, which is the norm.
So moved.
Second. You have that, Gina? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have an application here for the Fall Foliage Festival, which will be on the 8th of October on Main Street, 6 in the morning to 6 p.m. And if you make a motion to allow this, the insurance is here, the application is here, maybe the same motion could be you'll waive the live entertainment permit.
So moved as stated.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. We have, we've been asked to approve for part-time Detective Bailey salary at 4% above step 5 in the part-time officers collective bargaining agreement, starting from the date of reappointment. Now, his date of reappointment goes back to June 1, 2021, and continuing while position is filled.
Okay, we talked about this. I'm going to vote no on it, and the reason why is because of this. In June, Detective Bailey retired from the police department. On the same day, we hired him as a part-time police officer. And towards the end of the meeting, someone suggested that we hire him as a part-time detective without offering that position to anyone else in the police department and just appointing it to him. So I think there's something wrong with the way we did that. I think it's not right that we don't open that position if it is needed to everybody, because I'm sure other people would be interested in the money and interested in the position. But we closed that to other police officers for some reason, and I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve
So,
the information provided by the mayor.
is there a second?
Second.
May I have roll call?
Trustee Guerrero,
No.
trustee Alward,
Yes.
trustee DeSalvo,
Yes.
trustee Phillips,
Yes.
Mayor Denocio.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Okay, public comment. Public comment? Jim?
Would you please come up this way, because some people said they couldn't hear or they couldn't see who was saying it.
That was my first comment, trustee Howard. So at the last meeting, I watched it online, audio was terrible. Little chaos, unfortunately for a small village. I would hope that we don't see that often, but I understand why it happens sometimes. So I was just gonna ask the board if they are gonna continue to have meetings down there because of public hearings and space availability, that maybe we can look to get the equipment down there like we have here, so it can be live. It's just my suggestion. As far as the Verizon coverage, sir, will those maps be available on the village website so we can see the coverage once you get them, the colored ones?
I don't know. I don't know why not.
Yeah, I mean, they are public documents, you can certainly come in and look at them. I would have to ask Gina whether, I assume they can be
The
posted.
Verizon one
Yeah.
for the town of Highlands is on the line right now.
Is online right now? Okay.
Okay. And then ours are online too?
No.
It- it-
will.
Oh, they will,
Village, did you say the village?
the village ones?
The village one's not yet.
Not yet.
But the town of Highlands is.
Yeah.
It's on the front page of the website, upper left-hand corner.
Okay, perfect, thank you so much.
But just to make a notation, I do believe that it's in the board's best interest to provide everything online.
Yeah.
I know that it's a bit of an effort because you have to send it out to have it done, but it's a lot easier to provide, to just be able to say, just go to the website and you'll see all the information rather than having to try and copy it and mail it out or have them in here.
And then, like I said, I could barely hear, the audio was kind of terrible, but I know the reason we have the interim superintendent is because we're saving a lot of money at the DPW garage. So I was wondering if we're not going to go with that, possibly during the next budget session, how much we anticipate to pay a new superintendent for the DPW. And how much more is that going to actually cost the village residents? Because we're always talking about trying to save the residents money, and I think that's a great way because we've done it in the past. Even the previous administration did it as well. So if we could just get some of those numbers so the public knows how much more it's going to cost us, it'd be greatly appreciated. And then, just real quick, one last thing. There was some discussion, very heated, about tax breaks, tax incentives, IDA, just everything in general. But there are a lot of exemptions out there, especially for some Main Street residents, that are substantial, that the village residents have to pick up. So I would just caution everybody to not throw stones when they live in a glass house. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Michael Joyce, 12 Eagle Valley Road. We talked about this before, and I kind of pinned himself down there. I really want to know, when we run the water through the hydrants, I asked for the diameter of the pipe in, how many miles. You said 13 miles, but you weren't too sure on the diameter, so we could figure out the flow, plus the time you run it. But my main question is,
They're different sizes, so I
Well,
got
you have an inch and a half and you have a 4-inch on every hydrant.
well, the average, but what I'm
No,
saying is...
that's on every hydrant.
Oh, okay. But my question is, did everybody figure out, the people I know, and I heard what you said, from zero muck in the line to some people having a lot like I have? Did you guys figure out the amount of water how many gallons are run out before each household can use the water after the hydrants have been flushed?
No, like I mentioned before, it varies. They have to go house by house analysis, which they don't have time for, to be honest, but like I said, it's either like 0 like mine, or maybe 2 gallons per household to get rid of, before they get rid of the muck out of the system.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, we're not just talking about running the water through the hydrants, which we should do to make sure they work, but we're also taking into account the wastes of water for each household to clear the line so they can use the water after that effect.
It varies.
And
It varies because it depends on how many folks are running their water, flushing, and doing laundry after a flush, that it clear. Sometimes it could clear up quicker than other times. What clears it up is people using the water.
Right, but that brought me to my initial question that I posed 2 meetings ago, is can we please, I know we have to flush them 4 times a year by law?
Could be more.
Yeah, not more, we were
Well,
doing it
yeah,
twice in a month.
yeah.
Yeah.
Could we not do it June, July, and August, where the drought months? Is that possible? Because,
Well, if we were we don't do it during a drought.
well, I'm just putting it out there.
But we don't do it during a drought.
I mean, in the summertime.
The summertime, where there's more chance of having a drought, and reducing the water in the reservoir. And my other thing is, just to refresh my memory, the other tower that we're talking about, the DPW yard, that is on 9W?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
town highway.
Okay,
It actually sits in the village.
thank you. All right, thank you so much.
That's it. Yeah, definitely. Anyone else? Okay. I'll do, board, Melanie? You have anything?
Actually, I gave a report on the building department last time, and it's only a monthly thing, and so I don't have anything to say this time. I do want to say that I went to the center for this access meeting. It's for a veteran support, where it was actually fantastic. The guy came and said that if you're a veteran and you need help trying to navigate the healthcare system or homelessness, he gave us his information and gave us a lot of information. As you all know, I spent 20 years in the Army, so did my husband, so I didn't even know about any of these things. But if you want that information, just contact me. I'll give you his email and contact information.
Thank you.
We also set up Medicare information, and we had a couple of vets come in. You're gonna see that I'm biased toward the vets. A lot of them have gone to other places, didn't get the information, didn't know whether they were gonna qualify or not. So we're gonna set it up again in a month or so, and we're gonna bring people in who need Medicare, and we're gonna explain to them exactly their rights along with this. So we are doing that with the vets. When we were talking about the cell towers, the football game, which Army won, by the way, there were people coming down and they were asking, why can't we get cell service here? I explained it's only 2022, give us a break. It's ridiculous. I talked to the store owners, they're dropping calls. Tourists are coming in here, they can't use it either. It's 2022. We should be having cell service in this village. It's ridiculous that we don't. We are spending a lot of money, both the town and now the village, defending ourselves against against a group of people who say, no, we don't want cell towers, we don't need them. We do need them. They certainly have their right. If they don't want cell towers, that's great. But the rest of the people have a right to have good communication. And when we're talking about tourists, they're saying, we can't even use our cell phone here. When we come in here to let the kids know that we're coming up to see them, they can't do that. So we really need to be pushing for cell towers.
All set?
No, gotta put the glasses, I can't read. Here we go. Police report. We had 16 arrests. 1 was a felony, 11 misdemeanors, 4 were violations. We had parking meter tickets, 47, 11 for traffic, 5 for summons. We collected $2,250 for last month on the meter collections, and the village ticket fees were $3,675 year-to-date, and report fees weren't around, so we made $5,925. People are asking about the fall. It's coming. And they want to know about leaves and pickup. Leaves have to be in paper bags or clear bags. If you're going to have limbs, you've got to tie them up, make them short, maybe no more than 4 feet, is it? And they can take them on the truck. The question about sanitation, that's not our department. That's the town. People are saying, if it's trash day, can we put out, dressers and beds and stuff to take? No, you can't do that. You've got to call up the town, not the village, and set up a time when they can come and when they can pick that up. If you leave it with the trash, it may not get picked up. But that's something that the town has proposed for years and years. Please call them, they'll come and pick it up. Thank you.
Brian, let me just add to the leaf and brush and pickup. We worked out some new rules and regulations. There weren't many, it was kind of what we had, but we added. So it's on the village website. It's very important, yard waste, which could be grass, yard waste, which could be, I don't know. What we don't want you to do is, we don't want dirt and rocks. That's what we're getting. But there's rules on there about brush pickup, brush meaning tree limbs, leaves, yard waste, etc. And when it's as we can, and it's till the first snow arrives. Once that first snow arrives, there'll be no more. Karen?
Just a quick quarter report. We are still, we went down 3% since last meeting. We were at 50 last meeting, we're at 55% right now, Bob. We still had a couple water leaks that got repaired. And the plant's putting out about 560,000 gallons per day. That's still a lot. So, hopefully, with a little bit of rain we have, we don't have enough rain. But hopefully people are doing the right thing and not watering their flowers. Vegetation, that their fruit and vegetables that they're eating, yes, you gotta water those. But your flowers, I know they look like crap, but I'm sorry, mine looks the same way. So I just want to have everybody still be diligent about that. And I just want to reiterate also, the senior center I heard was really nice. I didn't get a chance to make it down there. Brian told me I wasn't old enough, so I'm sorry, but, and then, with the DPW, it's hard for them guys to pick up stuff that's not tied up and everything else, you know? And I'll admit, guys, they will go by and still pick it up, but it's not fair to them guys, because they have a hard time doing it. I was guilty in the past, a couple of years back, before I became a board member, I did it. They didn't pick it up. I called and said, why didn't you guys pick it up? They said, it's not tied up. I said, okay, so I tied it up. So, it just makes it easier on those guys, because most times one guy loading the truck by himself, you know, and then he's gotta get rid of it, and he's picking up, you know, very different places here and there, and it's going all over the place to do it. So, I just wanna reiterate that please do your due diligence on that, and DPW, thank you, and Brian, thank you for the senior center, so, that's it.
Yeah, just real quick, I know we approved the EFC project tonight, which included the $441,563 grant for the sewer plant, and just so residents know where the money went for that in a combination with some low interest financing. Belt press, John, and you fill in here, sludge digester and generator, which I think are all
No, the belt press is done, the generator and
Almost.
the digester are.
in the works.
In the works.
Right,
The RBCs,
Those are done, they were with,
yeah. All right, that was all I had, and I'll have the report, the normal monthly report next meeting.
and the RBCs they've been,
all repaired,
yeah,
well, replaced, really, everything,
thank you. We take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Jim, second by Brian, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.